Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into another edition of Deportes Nation. I'm Alex Parra, and today with a very special guest. She's one of my favorite people on the planet, to be honest with you, Miss Ginny Fuchs. First of all, Ginny, welcome into the show. How are you?
Doing good. Moved back home to Houston from Colorado Springs pretty much right after the Olympics, and just been staying in shape and turning pro.
Well, you look great. I know you just recently had a birthday, so congratulations on turning 21. Hint,
Yep,
hint.
feels good. It feels good to be finally legal.
One day I'll be as old as you. I'm just waiting, to mature and grow. We'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ginny,
Might take some time.
Yeah. Last time we caught up with each other was around Olympic time. A lot has happened. Let's go back a little bit, if you don't mind. What was the experience, the Olympic experience like, especially a year later, especially under COVID rules? I'm sure it was bizarre, surreal in so many ways.
Yeah. So I went to Japan July 1st. We went to a multi-nation training camp for 2.5 weeks. In Maui Saki, I believe is how you pronounce it. It's the most southern tip of Japan. And it was really because of COVID, we were only allowed to go to our room at the hotel, to the gym, or to the dining hall. And there was certain pathways we had to take. We couldn't go outside the pathways. So that was a very different experience. Japan was very, very strict about that, and they were very cautious and were always watching us to make sure, we were following the guidelines. So yeah, that was a little different because when I went to 2016, it was a lot more freedom. It was
Right.
just no regulations. And then we went to the village when it opened, and same thing. The village was, just buildings and the dining hall, where usually the village is almost like a small little city with stores, shops, salons, restaurants, but it wasn't like that because of COVID, and they didn't want us to socialize. And then when I fought, I could hear my corner clearly, which I've never experienced before because
Wow.
we had no audience. The arena was empty. And I forgot about that until I was in the ring fighting, and I'm like, why can I hear my coach so clearly? And I was like, oh yeah, there's no audience. So little things like that were different because even at international tournaments, like Worlds, there's always an audience, so there's always noise. So that was different. COVID made it, a very different Olympics, but at least it happened. So I'm grateful for that.
How did you feel representing the USA? And I know for you, it's been years literally preparing for that opportunity. When you walked into the stadium for the opening ceremonies, I'm sure you were just in another world, in a very good world, a happy world, I imagine.
Yeah, it definitely was one of the most honorable moments of my life. When I was a little girl, I wanted to go to the Olympics for running. That was my dream. Luckily, I didn't have the talent for running, so luckily I found boxing, which gave me the outlet to go to the Olympics. But yeah, it's what I've always wanted to do, represent America in the Olympics.
Now, you get through the Olympics, unfortunately not the result you wanted, and that's part of life. There's no guarantees. You have to work hard. What was your mindset, if you don't mind me asking you, once you figured out, man, this may be the end of my Olympic journey, let's put it that way. Were you in your mind set for what was next? And we'll talk about that soon, but at that moment, how did you feel? And I know it's a hard question, but I'm sure a lot of things were going through your mind.
The moment where I lost?
Yes.
Is what you're asking?
Yes.
It was almost kind of surreal. It didn't really hit me until I got home, honestly. For one, I really didn't feel like I lost the fight. And, for two, in my mind, I was getting the gold. So it was hard for me to accept the fact that I didn't even medal.
Yeah.
And it was almost like I was going through the motions during the rest of the Olympics. I was there to support my teammates and watch them for the rest of the Olympics. But yeah, it was just hard to be in the moment. I was just I was there, but I wasn't. But I finally, accepted it. when I got home and was like, okay, your dream was to go to the Olympics. You made that happen. Now let's move on. And to my other dream, which is to turn pro and be a world champion.
And let me go back quickly before we talk about the new announcement, your pro career starting off. How were you able to get through those times post Olympics? I'm sure, and I know your family is a big part of your life, friends. You had a support system in many ways, Ginny, and I'm sure that helped you. And there's a lot of Olympians, there's a lot of professional athletes that get to a certain level, and it's hard. It's difficult. We all have bad moments. That's just part of life. But talk to us a little bit about how maybe that support system helped you now in transitioning from your Olympic dream to now your pro debut.
Yeah, well, like you said, I had my family, all my friends, they've supported me to the beginning and they were just so proud of me. My gym here in Houston, Baby Bull, they were like, whatever you want to do moving forward, we're with you. And my teammates, my Olympic teammates and my past, like 2016 Olympic teammates, they were there for me. So just to have them reach out to me and let me know that they were there for me and all that helped me kind of like move forward a little bit. And we've all had different experiences, but we've had similar experiences, so that's nice to know. And they reminded me of that, so I'm just very lucky that I have that big support system.
And now we come to really the news that has been just recently confirmed publicly that you will be making your pro debut coming up in Orange County in April. First of all, I'm sure that's always been part of your plan, if you will, the Olympic dream, pursuing that, representing the USA, being USA boxing captain, and now your pro debut. I'm sure you're excited about that moment.
Yeah, in fact, when I started boxing, women's boxing wasn't in the Olympics, so I was training to get experience in the amateurs and then turn pro. And then in 2010, they announced that the IOC was adding women's boxing in the Olympics. So I was like, oh, hold up, let me do this first, and then I'll turn pro. So turning pro has always been on my agenda with my boxing career. It's just, I like I told you before, I always wanted to go to the Olympics. So I got that opportunity, and I was going to take it, and I took it. And now it's time for me to go in the pro ranks.
Right. So how do you feel getting into the pro ranks, Ginny? Meaning that it's a different world. It's a world where what you've maybe done in the past may not count. Now it's not for real. It's always been for real because boxing is a dangerous sport, and I commend you for being a boxer. But it's also an issue of, hey, now I've got to prove myself again. I've got to work myself up through the rankings, and it's to put on a show as well. It's a combination of those things.
Well, luckily, like my friend Michaela and Clarissa, who were on the 2016 Rio Olympic team, and even Shakur, because he lives in Houston now. I got to experience the pros with them when they started after the Olympics, when they turned pro, and kind of got to see the transition through them over the past 4 years, which has prepared me to turning pro. So now I kind of know what to expect, learning from their examples, or what they've had to go through. And I'm lucky for that, because otherwise it'd be kind of I feel like maybe I'd be lost a little bit, but I know kind of what to expect now, how to handle things, and how to make the transition from the amateurs to pro.
And what's your expectation from this first fight, Ginny? What's your expectation from this first fight? Meaning, it's a 6-rounder. I believe it's 112 pounds. Your opponent is a young lady from Virginia, not named Virginia, by the way, just to clarify that. So you got to go out. You got to win, and I'm confident you will. But it's one step at a time, right, at the pro level.
Right. No, I'm ready to show the world and all the professional women boxers out there that I know I'm gonna do so well in the pros. I feel like my style is kind of more for the pro style. I like the longer rounds. I like the take my time, choose my punches, and so I'm excited to finally show what I can do. And I know I'm going to take over in the 112-pound weight class, and I plan on moving up to 119, getting the belts in both of those weight classes. So that's my plan.
Well, look, we're very excited for you in that transition from amateur, from being an Olympian to being a professional boxer. Ginny, you've always been an inspiration to many of us because of the way you've handled OCD. It's something you've been an advocate of. You've helped many people. You've been involved in spreading the word that all of us really are affected by something. It's how we deal with it. It's how we overcome it. It's how we ask for help. And I'm very proud of you. Do you think the last 6 months have helped you better understand not only yourself, but understand the ups and lives of life? Does that make sense? We all have good and bad. We all have great moments. We all have bad moments. And I think it's who we are as people. And maybe it makes us better, as painful as it may be sometimes.
Definitely. You know, I know everybody goes through major changes through life, and it happens at different times. And it's a part of your growth. And you're right, like they may be hard, but you learn from them, and then they might lead you to better things that you wouldn't expect to happen to you. Like, I didn't think I would, like I said, go to the Olympics for boxing, but it just happened. But yeah, especially so this past, well, really since COVID hit, you know, I think for everybody, it's kind of changed their life a little bit and made us had to deal with hard things. But it makes us stronger, and it makes us appreciate little things in life. But yeah, it's definitely, I think it's also, this change also helped me transition into this next part of my life in my boxing career too. So I think, like I said, I think turning pro is going to be real easy for me, the transition. I don't think there's going to be any obstacles that I'm going to be blindsided by.
Yeah, I agree with you. Knowing you and knowing your support system, knowing you and your character, this is a natural transition. I'm sure you'll be successful. Ginny, I can't thank you enough for your time today and talking to us. We'll keep following up as you get through that first fight and come out a winner, which I'm sure you will. And we want to wish you the best of luck. Keep going, young lady. We're very proud of you.
Thank you. Appreciate you, Alex.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching another edition of Deportes Nation.